Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Antero webinar. Today, we'll be diving into the parts section of Antero. This session will cover how to create parts, organize your view, manage different inventory locations, as well as how to input suppliers and assign parts to specific equipment. Feel free to have Antero open so you can follow along with us to get started. Selecting the parts icon displays parts in Antero, similar to the equipment section. First, let's navigate to the parts section. When you open Antero, you'll see the dashboard. Look over to the right and you'll find the parts icon. You can also access it via the toolbar at the top of the screen. Go ahead and let's click on the parts icon. Once you click on the icon, a grid appears on the left side of your screen with a list of all parts currently in your Antero database. On the right side, you'll see the associated part detail information for whichever part is selected on the right. And on the left, a grid will appear on the left side of your screen with a list of all parts that are currently in your Antero database. The parts grid gives users the ability to create, maintain, and work with parts records. The default parts grid shows all parts across all departments in the Antero database. This view provides users with a summarized view of the parts that accompany the database. Let's navigate over to the left and let's click the Show Detail Panel icon, and that gets rid of the detail panel on the right so you can see the full parts grid. If you want to categorize your parts, you can do so by dragging a column title to the column header to sort by a specific category. If you want to save this as my default view, then I'm going to take my mouse and navigate here to the icon that has the gear within the box and click Save as My Layout. Now, anytime I open the program, this is how my parts will display. And I'm going to go ahead and drag this back so we can see the full grid again. Similar to the equipment grid, you can show more categories by hovering over a column title and right-clicking. From the menu that appears, select Show Column Chooser. A window will pop up, displaying all available categories for parts within Antero. By default, most are selected, but you can add others. So let's go ahead and add equipment type, and let's do order in bulk. If I close this window, you'll then see these new displays in the column. To quickly find specific parts within the grid, you can use the ABC search box. By default, the search is alphanumeric. However, if you click once to highlight the B section of the ABC icon, it will search through all pieces of data associated with each part. If I type in the search bar, blades, you'll now see the wiper blades pulling up in the grid. We already clicked the grid icon to only display the parts grid, so let's click it again to bring back the parts detail panel. The vertical application ribbon allows navigation of the details of selected parts. This includes suppliers. The supplier tabs of parts allows users to identify any and all vendors and manufacturers that could possibly supply the specified part. This information is maintained by the user and is provided primarily for reference. This section of data will not be updated based on completed orders or transactions, and it will require manual maintenance to keep records up to date. Next, we have the equipment section. On the equipment tab of the parts section, all equipment associated with a selected part will be displayed. No additional data entry is required, as the information presented is strictly based on data coming from the equipment section of Antero. Data shown here will be based on the parts associated with a piece of equipment in the equipment section's part tab. Next, we have order history. The order history tab allows users to view all historical data. Data entry is not performed here as the program will automatically display any purchase orders that have been completed. Again, this information only section of Antero is automatically populated with data. And in the event that there is no data shown, that could mean that there have been no orders completed where the selected part was used. Next, we have the Transfer Parts History. This tab displays all completed transfers of parts from one warehouse and area to another warehouse and area. Information is provided in the grid, but it's for record-keeping purposes only, and we're not able to edit any information that is here. Next, we have the Work History tab. This allows users to view all completed or historical work orders that have been completed with the selected part as used. In this example, I don't have anything in my work history. And again, data entry is not performed here, as the program will automatically display any work orders that have been completed. This information-only section of Antero is automatically populated, and again, in the event that there's no data shown, that means no work orders have been completed with the selected part. If you want to view all completed work orders, go to the History section of Antero. Next, we have the Parts Audit tab. This allows you to view all part transfers and stock quantity changes that have been completed with the selected part listed. Data entry is not performed here, as the program will automatically display any part transfers and stock quantity changes that have been completed. Again, this is an information-only section of Antero, and it's automatically populated with data. In the event that there is no data shown, that could mean, again, there have been no part transfers or stock changes completed where the selected part was used. These are the details that are available in the Parts Audit tab. We have the date recorded, which is the date the audit record was recorded. We have the usage date, the actual date of when the part was used and quantity was adjusted. We have the source, which is the location in which the inventory change was applied. We have the warehouse and the area, and this is the active warehouse location at the time of the adjustment. We have quantity change, which is how much the quantity was adjusted as either a negative or positive amount. And we have the user. You'll see that I made this change. And we have an audit description, which defines the part in the part section. I will go ahead and do an overview of the detail section before we go over creating a new part. The part details panel is divided into an upper and lower portion. The upper portion has general information about the part chosen in the parts grid. And in the general section of the part details panel, users will be able to see and edit information related to the selected part. For any fields present in the details section, users can enter or edit information on the fly directly by typing into the fields, or by clicking on the down arrow, or by clicking on Add New, and selecting from the available data within the list. The detail section of the parts record allows users to add information such as stocking units. Stocking units are described as the units for the part, or how you store the part in inventory. So as an example, we have quarts, each, set, and pair, so on. We have the tracking type. The tracking type can be set to tracked, which is the default, untracked, or tool. Tracked parts maintain quantity and inventory information, and quantities are deducted from on-hand values when usage occurs via work order or consumables. Untracked parts are listed and inventoried at the warehouse, but quantity information is not stored or maintained through usage. So for example, these parts may be too numerous to count, like a bucket of bolts. Tool. Parts flagged as tools are allocated, and parts quantities are not deducted from on-hand when usage occurs via the work order. We have the product group. This allows you to associate parts with a defined product group. The product group field is a single piece of data that can be used to describe or classify the part and will help to categorize similar parts together. We have the product type. This allows you to associate parts with a defined product type. This is a single piece of data that can be used to further describe or classify the part, and again, categorize smaller parts together. We have the equipment type. This allows users to associate equipment and parts with the defined equipment type. This is a single piece of data that can be used to describe the piece of equipment, and some examples are pumps, motors, valves, trucks, tools, so on. We have bulk units here. Bulk units are described as the units in which parts are ordered. And we have number per bulk unit. This is the number of individual units in a bulk unit. So for example, 24 paper towels in a case. In order to utilize bulk units, you need to make sure that this checkbox is checked. Down at the bottom, we have the part stock, and this is where important information is stored regarding part stock. Adding, editing, and removing part stock is easily done from the part stock utility icons. Additionally, parts can be transferred from one location to another. So we have the warehouse. Warehouses are the locations or storage areas where parts can be found. Parts can be associated with multiple warehouses, allowing for accurate inventory levels to be maintained. Additionally, parts can be ordered to, then used from the specific warehouses associated with each part. Unlimited warehouses can be created and used for parts and materials tracking. Next, we have the area. The area list fields allows users to associate part stock with a defined stock location. The area field, again, is a single piece of data, and it can be used to describe the location of a part. So for example, we have the warehouse, which is the garage area or the maintenance shop, and this part is located on shelf B, bin 2. We have the unit cost. The cost is the current price of the parts according to the supplier's documentation. This cost will be pulled when the part is ordered from the supplier in the ordering section, which we'll go over in the next webinar for part 2. Something to note, when ordering in bulk, the cost field will be determined by taking the number defined in the bulk units and multiplying the per unit cost. So as an example, if order in bulk is defined to order a box of 10 units, a single box ordered will take the cost of the 10 units and multiply it by the unit cost. Unit cost in this example is defined as $2 for a light bulb, and if the bulk units is defined as 10, then the order will be $20 for a single box of light bulbs. We next have the quantity. The quantity is the current quantity on hand for a specific part stock location. Enter the beginning quantity on hand to allow Antero to add or delete quantities in the future based on usage within the work orders, parts orders, and consumables section. We have the minimum quantity. This allows users to specify the quantity at which they should be prompted to reorder the selected part. A list of parts to be reordered is available in the reorder list, which we will go over in part 2. We have the maximum quantity. This allows users to specify the quantity to which they should restock the selected part. If a part to be reordered via the minimum quantity, then the max quantity will be a suggestion of the total quantity to be reordered. You can add unlimited stock information to a part. So let's go ahead and add that by navigating our mouse over to the left and clicking the Add button in the Part Stock toolbar. The Add Part Stock window will open in front of the program. Under the Stock Location heading, choose the warehouse and the area where the part stock location will be located. I'm going to choose Maintenance Shop, and let's do Shelf A, Bin 1. Then we'll enter the supplier's cost for each unit sold and the quantity currently on hand. Under the reorder options, enter the minimum quantity, which is the quantity at which users should be prompted to reorder the selected part, and the maximum quantity, which is the quantity to which users should restock the selected part. Lastly, go ahead and click the Save button, and you'll see the newly created Spark part stock information found in the Parts grid. Part stock entries can also be edited in this section. So to edit the part stock entry, navigate back to this toolbar and click on the Edit icon in the Part Stock toolbar. The Edit Part Stock window will open again in front of the window. And here you can change any of the selected information. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. The part stock locations can also be deleted from the database. Only individually selected records can be deleted, and confirmation is required when deleting parts from the database. So in order to delete the part stock, we will select the part stock area that we want to delete, navigate to this red X, click on that. A confirm deletion window will appear. Carefully read the information contained in the confirm deletion window, and then click the yes button to confirm or the no button to cancel. I'm going to click yes, and the newly deleted part stock locations will no longer be accessible from inside of Antero. The transfer stock section of part stock allows users to transfer parts from one part stock location to another. So in order to transfer stock for a specific part, we're going to highlight an area. So for example, maintenance shop, shelf B, bin 2. And we're going to come up and click on transfer stock. The transfer part stock window will open. We'll start by choosing the transfer date. And then we'll choose the transfer quantity. I'm going to move, let's just say 1. And I'm going to move it to the garage area. Then we have to choose the user that is moving the stock. We have the option to enter any comments into the field. And lastly, we'll click the Save button in the upper right-hand corner. You'll now see that I have 1 less in the maintenance shop, and we've added 1 in the garage area, area 3. Now that we've done a quick overview of the parts, let's add a new part. I'm going to slide the detail panel over. You can create unlimited parts in the Antero database. In order to add a part, we'll come over to the left side of the screen and let's click the Add icon. The Add Part window allows you to define, under the part type, we have whether the part type will be tracked, untracked, or tool. We have the name. This name must be unique compared to the other names in your part section, and this is a required field. I already have this, so I'm going to put a 1 to make sure that the name is unique. The description is an optional field. Next, under the stock location heading, type in the field or choose from the drop-down menu, and we'll select the warehouse and the area. We'll enter the unit cost, quantity, and stocking unit. If you have that information, at this time only the quantity is required. So we're adding a part. Let's say I have 5. And then we also have the option to add reorder options. So we have minimum quantity, maximum quantity, and primary supplier. Let's go ahead and click Save. The newly created part is now found in the parts grid. And then we can now enter the additional information in the detail panel over to the right. We can also duplicate a parts information for new parts by selecting the part that we want to duplicate, clicking on the caret next to Add Similar. We will have to change the name, so it has to be a unique field, and it's going to pull over all of the information that was originally in this AZ fuel filter. I'm going to add the quantity. I need to add the warehouse location. I'll go ahead and click Save. And you'll now see the new part here, as well as information that was already filled in with the original part that we duplicated. Lastly, we can delete parts. So let's say I made a mistake and I actually don't need these anymore, or we ran out, or whatever your reason is. We can come back up to this toolbar. We can click on delete. And again, this is going to pull up the deletion window warning, letting you know that this is going to permanently delete the entry from the database along with the associated data. Again, this is not recoverable in any way except to restore a complete database backup. And if that's the case, then you need to make sure you do have a database backup required, not required, but downloaded onto your computer. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And finally, we have the option to rename a part. This does affect all sections of the database history where the part's name is displayed. The change made to the part name will immediately be visible throughout the program. To rename a part in the selected database, we're going to come back up to this toolbar, have our part selected, click on the rename selected part, and then it'll pull up this window where we can change the name. So let's say I mistyped the serial number, actually BC. I'll go ahead and click save, and we'll now see that the part has been renamed. Something to note, if you don't want every user to have the functionality to delete or rename or what have you, a user with admin rights is able to change this in the security settings. That concludes our overview of the parts section in Antero. We've covered how to create, manage, and organize your parts inventory. Remember to explore the different tabs and features to effectively manage your parts data. Keep an eye out for part 2 of our webinar series, where we'll dive into the ordering section. A copy of this will be emailed to you once we close the webinar. I don't know if it's in a couple of hours or if it's tomorrow, but you'll get a copy of this webinar. And we do have Daryl Dorman here as well. He wants to hop in and say a few things.
Thank you so much, Emily. Just wanted to share a couple things around mPulse. AllMax. We do have a new website. If you've been to the allmaxsoftware.com website, it's completely redesigned. We have links to our customer portal and a bunch of other information on the site that you can view. We also do have the first of several client events planned. This one is going to be in Dublin, Ohio, May 8th and 9th. So if you're in the general Ohio area, we recommend that you come out to this and sign up. We will have some people from the AllMax team, including development, myself, Ryan Kindle, our president, and Emily Jarvis coming in, which will be a great time to learn more about the software, get some training on Antero as well as Operator 10, and also kind of network with other people in the field. We do have our next 2 webinars planned out. Next month is going to be an Operator 10 mobile webinar. We have an operations update plan for April with several exciting things, including Operator 10 mobile, which is going to be a similar feel to Antero mobile that I know a lot of you have already looked at. If you haven't, let us know, and we'd love to share more about it. And then in May, we're going to have the Antero Parts Part 2. And so again, like Emily said, that email is scheduled to go out tomorrow, where I will have a recording of the webinar from today. I will have a link to that file, so that if you have parts you want to get started, you've been thinking about getting your inventory started, we do have a CSV file we can provide where you can maybe import some of the Excel or manual writings that you have about parts to mass upload to Antero. And then I will have the signups for Operator 10 mobile, as well as part 2 of the parts webinar. As always, reach out with any questions. We thank you for coming to these. We thank you for your business, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.